First thing in the morning, we hightailed it out of there. And we went to our second couch surfing hosts, Marta and Tomas, who misled us. We thought that they were going to speak English. Their profile said, "Our flat English is having," and so we thought, oh. But they lied. Because their flat English was not having. So we walked in, and we did what we all do when we're speaking to somebody for whom English is not a native language. We tried to be helpful by speaking very loudly and not using grammar. And so there was a lot of, "We go bye-bye now, okay, bye-bye." As Marta and Tomas followed us around the apartment. Well, we made the very unfortunate mistake of noting the mounds of climbing gear that was all over their apartment because we were trying to make small talk. Which was impossible. And just our pointing at it made them suddenly think that we were avid climbers like they were, so we found. And so they followed us around their apartment for the next 3 days, asking us over and over again, "You haven't pictures climbing? Do you have pictures climbing?" And we kept saying, "No, we don't have any pictures of us climbing. I have never climbed anything in my entire life. And I definitely don't have a picture of climbing at all." But they followed us around anyway. "You haven't pictures climbing?" We say, "No." "Oh, okay, but haven't you pictures climbing?" I'll tell you something that they did have. They had pictures climbing, and they got us to look at all 270,000 of them. And they were all the same picture over and over again of them climbing the same wall from a distance. And we all know those people that take 1,000,000 pictures of the exact same thing. And it's like they've taken it upon themselves to chair the National Historical Preservation Society, and they're trying to document everything before it gets destroyed. And so apparently Marta and Tomas had wandered around cliffs and took pictures and picture after picture after picture and then set it in front of us for us to look at. Well, while we're looking at the pictures, all we could think about the entire time was, how long do I have to look at each image before it's been adequately observed? And you've been in that situation. And I don't know how people do not understand that other people's pictures are not interesting to look at. Because have you ever, in your life, had somebody hand you their photo album of their vacation and thought, "Holy crap, it's Yellowstone! I hope there are 40 more pages of the same picture of the same trees." So we looked through these pictures and nodded politely and thought they were very nice and tried to continue to have this relationship with Marta and Tomas. And I finally did on my last night. I had a very good conversation with Tomas. Well, like this. "Hey, Tomas." I'm going to be me over here, and then Tomas is going to be over here, in case you're confused because we speak the same. "Hey, Tomas, we're going to catch a train soon. Is it all right if I take a shower real quick?" Shower. I am already having the bath." "Okay, well that's good for you. What about this guy? Shower." "Ooh, I am taking the bath already. Here, cat." He writes me every week. So I didn't take a shower, but I was glad to hear that Tomas had already. So we were wondering. We got on a train now to head to our next couch surfing people. We got on this train, and it was a cabin with like 300 people in it, or 6. Somewhere between 6 and 300. And we were all stacked on top of one another, and there was a drunk man. He was, I think, Russian, a drunk Russian man. There was a woman who was tickling my friend Matt's feet all night. And on the top 2 bunks, there were these two girls who spoke one word of English, so almost as much as Martin Tomas, and they spoke it all night long. They sat up in their beds with the lights on and said, "What? What?" Like ghosts all night long. And then every once in a while, and this isn't an English word, so they only knew the one, but every once in a while they would throw in an, "Oh." We pulled up to the place where we were getting off at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and like, I don't get mad ever, but I was like, if I ever got mad, it was like I was pretty close at this point because I had just been kept up all night by, "What?" And we were getting off of the train, and they started feeding their bags down to us, and we knew they weren't getting off in that town because we knew where they were going, and we were trying to push their bags back up, and, "No, you're not getting off here, you're not getting off here." And they kept pushing the bags down. "What?" And "You're not getting off here! Everybody just stay!" And so we hightailed it down there, and I still wonder to this day, I'm sure they're dead. I am sure they are dead. I hope not. But I'm sure they are. And then we finally got to our last couch surfing host, Ivana. She was a very sweet girl, and she wandered around the city with us for half a day. And about halfway through the day, she looked at us very seriously. She had a robot voice, and she looked at us very seriously, and she informed us what we would be doing that night. She said, "Tonight, we will watch a movie about communism." And I said, "Or we could do something else." And she looked at me very seriously and she said, "Or we will watch a movie about communism." So that night we watched a movie about communism. And we got about 3/4 of the way through, and she looked over and noticed that Matt had fallen asleep, which I don't know why he had fallen asleep. It was so interesting. And she said, "Your friend Matt, he's falling asleep." And I said, "Oh, we should turn it off. It's too bad we tried." So we flipped it off, and the next day, the next morning, we got up, and we were going to stay for like 2 more days, and we got up, and she said to us first thing in the morning, "Tonight, we will watch that movie about communism." And we were like, "Or night on the town, on us." And so she wouldn't have it. We will watch a movie about communism tonight. And so we got home that night, and she put it on, and she made us start it from the very beginning because she was sure that stupid Matt had fallen asleep at the beginning of the film. Last time I ever talked to him, by the way. And so we watched that movie from beginning to end about communism. If anybody has any questions about communism, by the way, see me after. I'm prepared. And the very last thing that happened, and this happened the first night that we were there with her, she walked into the room where we were going to be sleeping with a bowl full of earplugs. And she walked in and she said, she held out the bowl and she said, "You will need these tonight." So you're like, "Oh, okay, like, do you snore? Like, what?" And she pointed at this cage in the room, and she said, "My chinchillas." I had never heard of a chinchilla before, but it's basically a rat. But whenever people make rats their pets, they give them a different name, like a more scientific name, so it doesn't sound like they have pet rats. And she pointed at "My chinchillas. They will keep you awake." I think we'll be fine. We've been here for a couple of hours, and they seem fine. So we took the earplugs to be nice, and she walked to the edge of the room, and it was a sliding door, and she went to slide the door shut, and like her face was like in the door. And I swear to you, the second the door like was shut, those chinchillas became possessed by the devil, and they were all of a sudden like all over the cage. The problem wasn't that I wasn't going to be able to sleep because it was too loud. I was scared, not for my life, for my soul. I was scared for my soul, and still feel like I left a piece of me there. We spent 2 nights there, and then we left to go to our next couch surfing people, and we canceled on them and found hostels from then on.